Hello my beautiful viewers, in this video I'm gonna give Sonic characters their own Pokémon teams, in a way that makes sense. I'm gonna take into account Pokémon that have similar physical appearances, abilities, powers, personalities, and more. Before we begin, I wanna say that this is just my personal opinion. There are currently 1025 different Pokémon, so I'm sure you would pick other Pokémons than me, and if you do, comment down below your teams. I would love to see that. Okay, so starting off with our blue hero, Sonic the Hedgehog. He's fast, blue, and strong. The first Pokemon I would give to Sonic is the beloved Greninja. Now some of you might be already thinking, yeah, sure, I see Greninja more of a Pokemon for Espio though, and you would be right. But this is my list, I decide. Nah, I feel like Greninja suits Sonic just fine. It's an agile Pokemon with swift movements, and it uses its speed to confuse its enemies. Next up, I'm gonna give Jolteon to Sonic's team. Jolteon is not only a fast Pokemon as well, but his spiky appearance also reminds me of our spiky hero. And you can make the connection of Jolteon's electricity to Sonic's power boost, or even movie Sonic's power. Our blue hedgehog is often described as being like the wind, and this character has a lot of American inspirations, so taking those into account, I believe Braviary is a Pokemon that could fit in Sonic's team. Braviary is a Pokemon from Gen 5, best gen ever by the way, which has clear American inspirations, and is also a bird, which are associated with freedom, something Sonic is also very much associated with. Next, I want to talk about Alolan Sandslash. I was gonna originally just pick the Cantonian Sandslash, but looking at the Alolan's form's design and color scheme, we can see that it resembles Sonic a lot more. Despite this regional form not curling up into a ball as much as the Cantonian variant, kinda like a spin dash, it is said that this Pokemon moves faster than any other in the snowy mountains. I like to think that Sonic was in one of his adventures in a snowy area, and he was pretty impressed by this Pokemon's speed in that terrain. The next Pokemon I believe would fit Sonic perfectly is Shaman. At first glance it seems pretty obvious. Shaman is based off a hedgehog after all, but what I really like about this is how Shaman is a Pokemon that can observe toxins and impurities in the air and turn them into a field of flowers. It reminds me of how Sonic destroys robots and turns them back into fleekies. If I remember correctly, in Sonic CD, when you defeat an enemy, it even leaves flowers on the ground as well. But not only that, when Shaman is exposed to a Gracidia flower, it transforms into the sky form, allowing it to fly freely into the sky. Free as our blue hero, that also when exposed to the Chaos Emeralds, changes forms and gains the ability to fly. And the last Pokemon I want to give to Sonic is Pokemon's mascot Pikachu. I know, it's basic as fucking boring, but please, hear me out. Pikachu not only is the franchise mascot like Sonic, they're both agile and fast, can utilize electricity, but my main reason is because Sonic actually knows who Pikachu is. Sonic has tried to save Pikachu in Smash Bros. Ultimate, when everyone was trying to escape from Galeem's attack. I like to think that these two would get along pretty well. No, this is not some Sonic True type situation, I swear to God. So yeah, these 6 are Sonic's Pokemon team. I do want to give an honorable mention to Togedemaru, because, well, it's literally a hedgehog. Now let's move on to our next character, our boy genius Tails. Tails is a kind-hearted kid, he has 2 tails and he can fly with them. The first Pokemon that came to my mind is Ninetales, due to being a Pokemon with, 9 tails, just like Tails. That has 2 tails, that's a lot of tails. Next up is Rotom, a Pokemon that can possess many motors and mechs, like the Pokédex for example. And this reminded me of Tails' pad that he usually carries around. Rotom would possess this pad and help Tails out with his research and adventures. You know something that Tails can do that Sonic can't, besides, flying? Swimming! You know who also swims and has 2 tails? Floatzel. This will be our young prodigy's next Pokemon. And now obviously I gotta give Tails a flying type on his team. When looking at the list of all the flying type Pokemon, the one that clicked with me the most was Togekiss. This gentle and friendly Pokemon that is known for sharing blessings with people that respect others just reminds me of Sonic and Tails' friendship. Tails also seems like the kind of person that would be perfect to take care of a Togepi, all the way to a Togekiss. Next, I want to talk about Alakazam, but specifically the evolution line of Alakazam. This Pokemon has an IQ that exceeds 5,000. That's a big ass brain, holy, which makes sense to give to our young genius. But when I mention the evolution line, it's because it reminds me of Tails' character development. Abra, a shy Pokemon that teleports away at any sign of danger, reminds me of Tails before meeting Sonic. Low confidence, avoiding danger, you get it. But after meeting the Blue Blur, Tails shows that he can also overcome his obstacles if he tries. The boy saved Station Square from Eggman after all. Yeah, let's not talk about his moment in Forces, let's just ignore that. And for Tails' last Pokemon, I'm gonna go with Metagross, a strong Pokemon that is more intelligent than a supercomputer, further emphasizing Tails' intelligence and his prowess with machinery. Now it's time for the best of them, my boy Knuckles, treasure hunter and guardian of the Master Emerald. First Pokemon that came to mind was Excadrill, a Pokemon that has amazing digging prowess, being able to build complex networks of tunnels. Its digging abilities are something that Knuckles also has in his arsenal, so it's a fitting Pokemon for him. Next up we have Typhlosion, a fire type Pokemon. I went with this one due to the fact that one of Cyndaquil's inspirations for its design is literally an echidna, so you can't get more perfect than this for our Knucklehead. Knuckles is a strong fighter with spikes on his gloves. A Pokemon that shares similarities to this is none other than Lucario. Lucario also has the ability to sense the aura of other trainers, just like how Knuckles has the ability to sense energy, especially from the Master Emerald. So with this in mind, I believe Lucario to be fitting for his Pokemon team. Speaking of the Master Emerald, we need a representation of this, and when it comes to powerful jewels, there is not a better choice than Diancie. But in this case, I'm even gonna go beyond and mention Mega Diancie to really emphasize that this is the ultimate jewel, like the Master Emerald. Knuckles is very loyal to his duties, and he comes from a very old tribe that lived 3,000 years ago. So taking these two facts into consideration, I'm gonna pick Hisuian Arcanine for his next team member, a Pokemon known for its loyalty and being from the Hisui region, a place that existed many years ago. I feel like this is a no-brainer. And last but not least, I'm gonna give Knuckles another fighter, a Pokemon that uses its punches a lot and with great agility. So I'm gonna go with Hitmonchan, a Pokemon that can punch so fast it becomes hard to even see. Now it's time for the ultimate lifeform, Shadow, our edgy hedgehog. I have a lot of interesting mons for Shadow, and starting off, I'm picking Zoroark, the illusion Pokemon. Zoroark is able to use illusions to confuse its opponents. These illusions are so realistic that it makes one believe that they're being physically affected. These abilities remind me of Shadow's Chaos Control. While it's not exactly the same thing, since Chaos Control can manipulate time and space, Shadow does use it to confuse and defeat his opponents. These two also share pretty much the same color scheme, so it makes perfect sense. When looking at Shadow, he has these inhibitor rings on his arms and legs that restrain his power. These rings remind me of Umbreon, a fan favorite Pokemon that also has these yellow rings in its design, so it fits perfectly in his team. Shadow is often described as being Sonic's equal in power and speed, and I actually have a very interesting way to show this. So, remember how I used Greninja as one of Sonic's Pokemon? Well, Shiny Greninja, by coincidence, also has very similar colors to Shadow, so this is a really fun way to show how these two are equal in my opinion. Next, I thought of Weavile, a very strong and fast Pokemon that also represents Shadow's abilities well, and Houndoom, another tough looking Pokemon that I think Shadow would love to have around. This would also work as Shadow's Mega Pokemon. And for his last Pokemon, I have a very special one that has many similarities with Shadow, including his origins, and that is Mewtwo. Think about it. Both Shadow and Mewtwo were both artificially created. They were both based on something, in this case Mew for Mewtwo and the mural of Angel Island for Shadow. They both went on a rampage after being released, and they both fought their lookalikes at one point. Mewtwo even has a form in Pokémon Tournament called Shadow Mewtwo. They're making this way too easy for me. The ultimate Pokemon for the ultimate lifeform, and that wraps up Shadow's team. and this video as well. I hope you guys really liked this one, because I'm also a huge Pokemon fan, not just Sonic. And if you guys really liked this video, I'll make a part 2 of this, with other characters, like Amy, Silver, Blaze, Omega, and many more. So yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you subscribe, you'll receive this amazing Sonic mask. Look how beautiful it looks. See you later, guys.